Hello and welcome to the second channel for Tales from the Trip. I'm your host, the Trip Keeper, and on today's video, we're going to be reading a story, kind of like just going back to the good old days where I just read a story or like read those stories, those separate things, and just back to the classics. I want to read this story, My Horrible Lighter Gas Addiction, uploaded 13 days ago to my subreddit. If you guys aren't familiar with my subreddit, you can post your trip reports. I only read horror ones, and I tend to avoid the LSD and weed ones because I get such an influx of them very often. They come very often, and people want to see the meth psychosis. They want to see the fentanyl. They want to see the crazy shit. With weed, I always get those comments on the videos like people comment like, how do you overdose on weed? How do you get psychosis from weed? It's like, dude, it can happen. It's just like because it has to happen to you doesn't mean it can't fucking happen. It's actually a very like research topic. But yeah, tell me more about how you have to smoke 5 blunts to even feel high. Weed smokers. And back in the day, not even that long ago, it's been over 5 months, I had my last beer. Now we're drinking pineapple juice. We're changing. I've been drinking alkaline water. I've been making my own meals in the crock pot. I've been staying away from fast food because I had a health scare a little bit fairly recent ago, and I'm trying to be healthy, and I am getting off my Abilify because my doctor, I don't want to go into it, but something happened, and my doctor said I should do that. If it doesn't get fixed after a while, like then we'll figure out something else. But I think the Abilify reacted very badly with my body one day, and I was just like, I don't know what happened, but so I've stopped taking that, and I haven't been getting that much good sleep. My appetite's been pretty terrible. I'm not having nightmares, which is good. But the diet, I usually like to wean off of stuff because I actually tried to wean off both of my medications earlier this year because I just felt so happy and at peace, and I still am. And I did. I was weaning off. I weaned off both of my Lexapro and my Abilify until they hit zero. For like 2 weeks, I cut it down to like a quarter or like 3/4 or a half, and then a quarter, and then I would stop taking it. Reading all these stories, you learn all these things. Like, you just don't want to stop taking medication because serious things can happen, especially if you took it for a while. So I thought this weaning would help. Now, as soon as that shit was out of my system, I started fucking having nightmares, night sweats. I started getting panic attacks. Everything started happening. I'm like, is this going to be temporary, or can I just get back on my Lexapro and Abilify? This will go away. And I made that choice to go back on it. And you shouldn't be playing around with SSRIs, and you really shouldn't be. I should not have done that. I should have had a doctor's order first to do that, and I should have known best because I'm the one fucking making these videos. But I weaned off of Zoloft pretty well. I weaned off of that for 4 weeks, and I still had a couple brain zaps, but it wasn't anything crazy. Like, I just hate having nightmares and night sweats. I hate that feeling so much, and it's just like it was constant when I got off of that completely. But now I'm back on it. I'm not taking Abilify no more, just the Lexapro. And my coworker, who is from Nigeria, he's gonna hook me up with some African herbs because he feels bad for what happened, the health scare, and I'm kind of excited. He gonna hook me up. But anyways, dude, let's drink some of this pineapple juice and let's get to the fucking story. Now, this one's a pretty long one, which is good. We love it. We love it here. We love lighter gas addiction. We don't love addiction, but we love these kind of stories. We love lighter gas addiction stories. This is one. Usually, I like to skim through stories, but this one, I'm like, I can already tell this one's gonna be good because how many upvotes does it have already? Computer's not going down. Oh wow, 18. That's a lot. That just doesn't sound like a lot for a Reddit post, but for my Reddit community, that's a lot. So we are in for a wild ride. It does seem pretty long. I was swiping for a while. All right, let's get started. At the lowest point of my life, I had been addicted to huffing lighter gas over the span of a year, and I'm going to tell that story for 2 reasons. One, for my own process to finally openly talk about it after suppressing the memories for years. I hope putting this horrible experience in words helps me to come to terms with it and carry on with my life. Secondly, to warn others about the dangers of huffing. I seriously believe I'm lucky to be alive and I still have my mind and sanity. Please don't destroy yours. Others weren't so lucky. Feel free to reach out to share and talk about your experience. So before I continue, when I was very stressed out like a month or two ago, and I wanted to see my therapist who I haven't seen in a while, and he couldn't get me in. He recommended doing the 988 number crisis hotline. I'm not gonna say the other word, it starts with the S. He said you don't need to like be in an extreme crisis. You don't need to be idle to call them. You just like if you're freaking out and you just want someone to talk to and just someone to listen, talk to them, and it's free. Just call 988. They'll listen to you, dude. It really helped me when I was very stressed out. It got me through I explained every situation that was going on, and they're not gonna give you advice like a therapist. They're not gonna dive deep into your mind and like see what's really causing like these issues or stuff and how you can they can help you resolve it. No one can tell you how to resolve it. Like not a therapist, you just got to do it yourself. But like this is like more basic stuff, but it's free. It's free, and I had a really nice woman on the other line, and she was very open, and she was listening to everything. She could tell I was stressed. My therapist could tell I was stressed. I was just rambling on and on and on about it, just everything, and it was just freaking out. I was at work, a lot of things going on, but got a lot off my chest. And if you ever need to like talk about stuff, dude, like call that number. Like that was the greatest advice I've ever gotten in my entire life, because maybe not the greatest, but like it's a really great thing that he said that to me. I had no idea like I could call them for that reason. So yeah, just don't be, if you think your situation is not as bad, don't let that stop you from calling them. They handle everybody and everything. Now I'm sure they're more used to like very severe situations, but if you have a problem, whether it's deep and hard to get through, or it's like something simple, or something you just want to get over really quickly, like just call them, and they'll listen. I really like that about them. And it's free, 988. It's literally 988. Just call them. A couple of years ago, I was 30 years old, poor, in debt, and my blind Siamese cat was the only reason to get out of bed. Aw. As a curious person, I wasn't hesitant to try different drugs from time to time with my friends and my girlfriend. We already did weed, hash, Molly, ecstasy, poppers, Xanax, and truffles. I never had an interest in stronger stuff. Weed especially was my solace to a little bit of happiness, but I only could afford so much. I had a bottle of poppers lying around for a cheap high, but didn't like the spots in my vision and the headaches. So I started looking for something else. Was there another chemical I could abuse? Millions. With nitrous oxide in the back of my mind, I somehow discovered that lighter gas also gave me a pleasant high. I didn't really mind the chemical taste, it was kind of sweet even. Exhaling felt like the gas was escaping through every orifice of my head. One hit would make my whole body feel warm and my mind quiet. A Google search learned me that some people died of it, but mostly kids. So I started experimenting with safer methods. Kind of interested to see here what kind of safer methods you can really do. I mean, you're still inhaling lighter gas. Like, I don't know if there's really a safe way just to do it less or not do it at all. That's the safe way. I think I started using a towel, but I couldn't breathe in enough to feel its effects. So in a few experiments, I figured out that putting the nozzle of the can into a full roll of a toilet paper was the safest way to use it. The gas, once inside the roll, it quickly came to room temperature, making it easier to inhale. At the time, I felt really smart for figuring that out. That reminds me of a movie I watched about this guy who got addicted to huffing gasoline after his wife committed that event thing happening, and he gets like really addicted, and people start like noticing that he smells like gas, and he's got like he gets a very bad gas huffing addiction. And Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the greatest actors of all time, his brother made the movie, and you can find it on Amazon Prime Video. It was it was like 2 a.m. I was just gonna watch part of it and watch the rest of it the next day. But I stayed excuse me. But I stayed up till 3:30. I finished the whole thing. It's not too long. It's like an hour and a half, I think. So just want to mention that. And someone commented that on my absolute horror of huffing gasoline video. I was reading the comments one day, and I noticed they were talking about that movie. I'm like, that sounds very interesting. And I told Vivek to watch it. He watched it with his pals. He said he loved it too. So Seymour Hoffman's a great actor. I think I started using a towel, but I couldn't breathe in enough to feel its effects. So in a few experiments, I figured out that putting the... Oh, yeah, I read that one. It took me a little while for me to figure out I was already read that paragraph. After a few uses, when the rolls become too wrinkly to properly hold gas, I hid them behind the couch, stacking them together with empty cans. It worked better than I expected, except for that one time I accidentally got toilet paper with aloe vera extract. Ooh, that. After a deep huff, I tasted it and hacked and coughed to get the slimy aloe residue out of my lungs. Dang, it all sounds so stupid now that I'm writing it down. Hey, that's why it's good to talk to someone, because you just realize, like, hey, writing it down, talking with someone, like, fuck. That's actually going on. I started using it in small dosages. A few huffs were enough to keep me entertained for the afternoon. Together with smoking weed, I would feel calm enough to take a nap and woke up without the raging thoughts I usually had to deal with. It was my fuzzy blanket of comfort. But during one session, the addict in me took over. I started huffing far more gas than I was used to. I don't remember my state of mind. I probably was angry or depressed because of my situation. I was tired of the constant survival of life. I wasn't enjoying it anymore and didn't mind dying if it would happen. But during that one particular session, I noticed overusing it made me see visuals. I thought and still think hallucinogenic drugs are the most captivating, so I was ecstatic about this discovery. I found my own personal new drug. I even told my best friend, who was far more unhinged than I was, but even he was doubtful about huffing damn lighter fluid. Wish I took his warning more seriously, but I already was addicted. I started to chase the dragon, my tolerance increasing with each session, so I tried stretching the sessions for as long as possible, eventually turning them into some kind of trips. And it worked. The effects were bizarre. I saw a lot, but I also forgot that most of that after the high was gone. It's a lot like dreaming while you're awake, and then you're actually waking up, unable to recount what you just dreamt. I love that. Wait, hold on a second. You can tell by the way I use my walk, my wounds, man. Time to talk. Might have to go here, Robin Hood. I gotta call their support for my mom. Shoot. Wait, hold on. I gotta pause this. I don't wanna... Okay, guys, I will have to take this call from Robin Hood. They're going to call me in like a minute or so, so I'll be back. I might just edit this part out. Motherfucking cocksucker pretend like he didn't hear us. I had to merge my mom's been struggling logging into Robin Hood, and she's afraid about like all her money being in there getting taken away because she got locked out of her account. And you got to like request a phone number, request a phone call to get, wait fucking at least 30 minutes for them to call. I said it was going to take 3. I had him call my number since I couldn't use her number, and I had her on the phone with me. And I don't know if it was when I merged calls, he couldn't hear us. Me and my mom both said we could hear him, but he could not hear us. But I'm starting to think that he didn't. He could hear us. He just did not want to deal with our problems because he just had to deal with a fucking other thing right before. So fuck Robin Hood support. They can't hear you. And yeah, I was trying to help my mom, but whatever. Okay, let's go back to the fucking story. I started to chase the dragon, my tolerance increasing with each session, so I tried... Oh my god, I read that one already. These are the things I do remember. During one trip, I thought I could use the power of my mind to compress ice particles in the clouds to form ice balls, making them fall down to the earth. I heard the glass break upon hitting the street. I could see that ball-making process in the sky and follow them until they shattered on the ground. One of the projectiles almost hit a guy riding a motor scooter. I saw him turning around and driving around my apartment building to look for me. I ducked behind the couch to secretly and slowly close the curtains so he wouldn't find me. But I actually never saw him or any of that stuff. I was just sitting on my couch, drooling and murmuring. Another time, I could see all kinds of information around me. I saw coordinates and computer graphs. It's like I was playing Roy, that VR simulation game from Rick and Morty, but with some kind of debug screen over my vision. When I looked at the couch, I had microvision, and I saw tiny dust mite larvae living inside the fibers of my couch that really grossed me out. So this sounds like psychosis a little bit. Sometimes it was like there were other people in the room with me. I remember having a talk with my best friend, but when I looked up, he was gone. I was so convinced he was just there. I searched the entire house to be sure that he wasn't fucking with me. Datura. That reminds me of Datura. Crazy how these things can affect... I mean, you're not supposed to be inhaling lighter fluid, but just crazy things can affect you these ways. I like to watch consumer television programs during those trips. During the come up During the come up of the trips, I understood what was happening on TV, but backgrounds would slightly shift and change, or people would start to say things that didn't make sense. Sometimes I had to rewind videos 4 or 5 times to process what was being said, but each rewind they would say different things. People's expressions were vivid because my vision narrowed just to their face while everything around their face was blurry and shifting. Looking at them felt safe. When a show host was talking to the camera, it was like they made eye contact and were talking just to me. And when I looked away from the TV, they would go silent and just stare at me, only to continue their bit when I made eye contact again. I started to feel like the TV hosts were personal friends at some point. I even talked to them as if they were in the room with me. Requiem for a Dream, hey, that was part of it. She was in the show. During the peak of the trips, my mind completely distorted the images show on TV and created its own story from bits and pieces of what was being shown on television and other stimuli like sounds. It was like each rewind was a different episode. For example, I heard a dog bark outside, and poof, a dog appeared in the episode, which disappeared when I rewinded. It started with innocent stuff like that, like seeing two faces fused into an entirely new face and seeing birds or bugs bothering the people on TV. There was one huff that brought me inside a dark sink drain. I remember waking up, looking around, and everything was green, brown, and slimy. I saw the kitchen cupboards through the sink strainer in the ceiling, which was the only source of light. Around me, green/brown blabbering slime monsters were jumping around, looking like they were having fun. They kind of reminded me of gremlins. These actually sound like pretty cool hallucinations. When I snapped out of it, it felt like I was just in some weird drain cleaner commercial from the 90s. It reminded me of an actual commercial I was scared of as a kid, but I'm unsure if it's a real memory or if it was created by the gas. Like remembering an old dream and being unsure if that actually happened. Huffing really messed with my sense of reality. Slowly, the images start to turn more gruesome. I saw dash cam footage of a car hitting a baby, with a shot of the wheels burning out on its splattered head, spilling blood and guts everywhere. I thought it was gross, but laughed at the same time because it was so bizarre that they would show that on television. Make me chuckle. That is not funny. Babies getting run over by cars are not funny. Okay, let's get that straight. But when he said television, why would they show that on television? I was so convinced that it happened, I wrote a comment under the YouTube video stating out how nasty that item was. Afterwards, when I sobered up, I couldn't believe they would broadcast such grotesque imagery, so I watched it back, and the messed up baby face turned out to be just an ugly guy, awkwardly looking straight into the camera for a few seconds. I thought the dead baby was a stroke of bad luck. I didn't really mind seeing it. I was used to those dark reality websites. So for my next trip, I got some food, drinks, and weed to make the experience nice and fuzzy again. And it all went well until I tried standing up, using my arm to lift myself from the couch, not noticing my cat was lying right next to me. When my hand turned wet and warm, I looked at what caused it and saw I pushed my hand right into his chest cavity. My hand disappeared into his bloody ribcage. His face was stuck in a silent scream. I squashed that poor cat like a watermelon. Wow, I'd be devastated if I saw that. Not real or real. But I remember screaming and crying out multiple times out of shock and despair. What have I done? I was devastated. I killed my best friend. It felt like I was in a horror movie. This can't actually be happening. I stood up and walked to the kitchen to get some water, blubbering incoherently to myself, and there I stumbled upon my cat, who was just chilling on the floor staring up at me. That's what they'll do. That's what they'll do. You'll think you're punching in their rib cage, their bloody rib cage, but they're actually just in another room, just waiting for you to come in and say hi. I was so happy because I was absolutely convinced I killed him. It looked so real, but I so clearly saw his screaming face. When I checked out the bloody carcass, it turned out to be the pastries I brought home. This sauce was all over my hand and the couch. Despite these bad trips, I secretly started using when my girlfriend was around. I would hide my stash into the laundry pile in the bathroom, where also the toilet was. I would then lie about having bowel movements, then disappeared for minutes, sometimes half an hour. There, I would huff sitting on the floor, and when my body started to feel heavy, I lied down on the cold floor using a towel as a pillow. It was a whole different experience than sitting on the couch. Without the TV, my mind came up with its own things. I remember hallucinating twice. One time, a small devilish cartoon ghost appeared, laughing and pricking me with its little trident. I started bleeding, and it was obnoxiously flying around me, splashing blood on the walls. It started talking to me like he was giving advice to me, but I couldn't understand a thing he said. Another time, I hallucinated that a befriended couple were visiting us while I was lying there in my nest of dirty laundry. In an epiphany, I saw them talking to each other, with my girlfriend stating to them that she was worried about me using gas. The girl told her not to worry because her boyfriend was also using gas, and she said it unlocked his creative potential, so it was actually good for you. That's awesome. I mean, fuck. It does. There's a lot of creativity you can get from this. All these hallucinations, man. There's a lot of things you can take from seeing this shit. So it's actually good for you. That is so funny. I was so ecstatic about this statement, so I grabbed the can of gas, burst out the bathroom up to my girlfriend, proudly holding up the can, and said, "What did Emma tell you?" with a massive grin on my face. When I saw her confused expression, I realized the dumb mistake I made. My girlfriend had no clue what was happening to her and thought I was cheating on her with Emma. It dawned on me when the jig was up. I confessed my addiction to her and promised to stop. I didn't. I just stopped using when she was around. The next trips became more and more awful. The people I imagined in the room would become crowds of people. Sometimes they were so loud I had to put my hands on my ears because the noise was overwhelming. Stuff would fly out of the TV, making me recoil and hide behind the table. One time I actually thought the world was ending. I saw airplanes falling from the sky and one crash into my apartment. I saw people torn apart all around me and their body parts spread across my floor. I remember I've had a couple end of the world dreams, but the scariest one was when I was looking out the window and there was like a countdown. Like it was like when in Family Guy when they were counting down the April Fool's thing, a black hole's going to consume them. They were doing something like that. Like that's how long you have left to live, basically. And what I saw outside when I was looking through my window, this happened, and I was dreaming this. I probably had dreamed this like a couple of years ago or something by now. I don't know. But yeah, I was at my old apartment I grew up in as a kid with my mom, and I looked out the window and I saw Matrix and like iridescent fucking colors and shapes and stuff like circling around the earth, like in a dome, like how the Simpsons have like a dome thing in the Simpsons movie. Like it looked like that, but it looked like a massive bubble, like how we'd have it as elementary school kids. Like it looked like that bubble where you would, I don't know what you guys call it, we always call it the bubble. It's like that thing you can climb on, you can go in it or out it, you can climb on top of it, you can just go inside, but you guys know what I'm talking about, hopefully. It looked like that, and it was like going down. I was with my mom, and we were like having an argument before, and we were getting really mad at each other. But as it got down to like 7, we started to hug each other and say, "I love you so much." And I woke up when it hit 0, and I don't know what happened, but no. This is what happened. Everything came flickering down. Like everything was shutting off, like how cities look like from outer space, how you see all those lights and stuff, like all the lights from like whatever when they take pictures of the Earth. It looked like that, those kind of lights were like drizzling and everything just turned dark. And then I woke up, and I woke up in a panic, dude. That's what that kind of reminded me of. I haven't thought about that dream in a while. Like I have very vivid dreams. My dreams are so vivid. I'm blessed to have them because I do enjoy them, even if they're nightmares sometimes. But, like, man, just seeing that, like, even though it was scary, like, it was fucking cool. I see some trippy-ass shit in my dreams. Like, there's a fractal coming out of a woman's thigh before, and it turned into, like, a hurricane. That was really weird. It was, like, it's just the things we can imagine, you know? The things our brain can fucking do. Or, you know, maybe it's just something else. Maybe dreams are just, it's too confusing. Let's go on. I went on too long. The next trips became, okay, wait. One time I actually thought the world was ending. I saw airplanes falling from the sky. Okay, we read that. I wanted to flee outside, so I fled from the couch into the hallway, seeing rubble, torn off faces, and giblets everywhere. It was so overwhelming. Halfway to the front door, I collapsed, curled into a ball on the floor like a little kid, hyperventilating and hiding my face in my hands. I started focusing on my breath, calmed down a bit, and when I removed my hands, everything was gone. No plane, no people. Then another time, it was even more traumatizing. I remember taking a deep huff, saw black spots in my vision, and when I looked at my hand, I saw my skin turning blue. It hit me that one time I read huffing replaces the oxygen in your lungs with lighter gas, so it felt like I was slowly dying, choking from the inside. Again, my instinct told me to run outside, crying out desperately. This time I made it through the front door and yelled loudly for help. I saw my neighbors peeping through their windows, looking worried and confused. When my neighbor opened the door and asked what was going on, I said, tears in my eyes, I'm dying, with shotgun on my face. I quickly fled back inside. I can't imagine what I must have been thinking at that moment. Another neighbor took me inside and calmed me down. In a heart-to-heart, I told him everything, and I made a promise that I'd stop. I wish I did, but again, I didn't. He started writing he's in there in this. That's why I was like, stop for a second. I was like confused. I don't know. Even if he's telling a story about something else, and even if the story's fake, it's a great story. I don't think it's fake, though. People can have very crazy hallucinations. Slowly, I started using more and more cans of Robin Hood's calling me. Started using more and more cans of gas with each session. Sometimes using 6 or even 8 cans in one sitting. I would have a pack of toilet paper beside me on the couch with 10 cans or so, empty cans and rolls of toilet paper spread around me. I wanted to stop, but now I got seriously addicted. The trips were my escape from a cold world. It gave me the idea I was escaping from my situation and living in another reality. Somehow I got the wise idea to use lighter fluid together with the truffles. Using truffles always made me feel like some kind of calm guru, caring only about peace and love. Truffle Trip made me feel like I had answers to every problem in life, just by using logic and stoic thinking. I thought, maybe if I can combine those two, maybe I can have happier hallucinations, I thought. I chewed the truffles up good, waited half an hour, and started huffing from the first can. In a matter of moments, like a shot going through my mind, a sense of realization came over me. How much did I actually know about lighter gas? What are the ingredients and long-term effects? Didn't I oversee something with my distorted mind? I went on Google to research what lighter fluid actually was. Learning carcinogenic materials are involved in the processing of making the gas. I thought I gave myself leukemia. I thought I could feel the cancer in my bones flowing through my blood, and that was just when my trip started. Way to start off a trip. Oh, God. I crept into bed, and it felt like the room was filled with ghosts and demons, tormenting me for the stupid mistake I made. I felt my family being sad and crying for me. I felt my forefathers being disappointed in me. I never felt so many emotions at the same time. At one point, it was like I was being asked if I wanted to live or die. With all the strength I had left in my shivering body, I yelled, I wanted to live. That made me snap out of the hallucinations for a moment, and still tripping, I called my mother. She's a nurse. When she answered the phone, I cried out, Mom, I have leukemia. I'll read that better. Mom, I have leukemia. I must have scared her so bad. I still feel sorry for it. Nevertheless, she calmly asked what was going on. I told her everything. I also called my sister and my dad. They never experienced me so panicked, but they all reacted so kindly and understanding. My family managed to calm me down over the phone and give me comfort. Tired from being scared shitless, I went into a deep sleep after the whole ordeal. I think being alone really was not good. Like, you're having hallucinations being with your girl. You're still alone, though, doing it. But, like, yeah, when you have that person, you can, especially when they're understanding and in that moment, like, yeah. Waking up... Waking up, I was still worried, and a lingering feeling of impending doom came over me. I made an appointment with the doctor that day and came clean to my girlfriend about the gas abuse, and together told her mom. She drove us to the doctor's office, and I told him everything. He was understanding and assured me that I was fine, but I still became a hypochondriac for a long time. The conviction I had damaged my body was the last and longest lasting mind fuck the gas left me with. I developed a tic, randomly pinching my skin to look for bumps. I had daily panic attacks that some days still was convinced I was actually dying. I spent days Googling, researching, and worrying whether I gave myself cancer. The truth is, I don't know. In its intended use, lighter gas is harmless, but there's no research, barely any cases, on what the long-term effects are if you huff it. I must have used over 100 cans. Sure, you breathe most of it out, but I remember the gas fizzing in my mouth. I remember holding in the gas for as long as I could. The fizzing crap went into my body, my intestines, my blood. And what about the tiny paper particles inside the toilet paper rolls that went into my lungs? Usually I never visit the doctor, but I saw him many times that period. I convinced him to test my kidney function and have him take a photo of my lungs. Fortunately, everything came out clean. The results were my only crutch to overcome the anxiety. Still, it was a process of years. I'm still scared. Illnesses can stay hidden for a long time, and suddenly, bam, you have 3 weeks to live. It could happen to anybody, and I exposed myself to the volatile chemicals. My best friend is going through something right now. He's been a hypochondriac his whole life, and he's worried about, he might have cancer because he had a test and he got scared. But like every test comes back, and he gets scared with it. But it's hard not to be scared about it. But I try to cheer him up and tell him like, no, it's not gonna be, dude. You're not gonna get cancer. It's gonna be fine. You're just overthinking it. Like no matter what I say, he still just is. There's nothing you can really get to him for, you know. And but I realized because it was an inflamed colon, so what was weird was my mom sent me an article yesterday when I was with him, and it was something why younger people are getting colon cancer, and it says if you've been exposed to E. coli, you have a higher chance of getting it. And I was not going to share with him that article because he would have not been able to sleep all night. He slept over, dude. We just had a chill time. But seeing that, and I know he likes to eat a lot of Chipotle. Chipotle in the past had E. coli situations, and he said he started feeling pains after he ate certain foods at Thanksgiving, or like just when he ate dinner there. So I don't know. Worst part is I still long for the gas. When I think back about the feeling of a fresh gas toilet paper roll, how it made interesting stuff happen around me, how it made me forget the world, it makes me want it. In hindsight, I think those terribly realistic, gory visions must have been a warning to scare me off of it. Luckily, I survived, but I have to live with an altered mind, a stain on my soul I have to carry with me for the rest of my life. Now I'm 34. Okay, I was going to wonder what his age was. Now I'm 34, and I'm so lucky to still have my sanity and I can think, type, and speak coherent sentences. A lot of Huffing stories I read end really badly, so I count my blessings for being among the lucky ones. I quit all drugs except weed, which I'm also working on. I moved houses, which also helped. When we moved the couch, countless toilet paper rolls and empty cans appeared from behind it. I did all kinds of random shit in that time, so nobody really asked questions. My girlfriend is still with me, bless her heart for pulling through. I also got a dog who's helping me get fresh air and clear my mind. I had my doubts about sharing the toilet paper trick because I don't want people to go through the same hell. It's a slow descent into madness, while to yourself it seems innocent. But it's terribly addicting if you are already in a weak spot. I'm glad I had that big of a shock to snap out of it. But I tried quitting before, and it was so damn hard. Using gas is like going through that Coraline tunnel. You enter a wonderful, happy world, and slowly everything gets more fucked up until you can barely escape. But then the tunnel is made of toilet paper rolls. I've seen Coraline, top 5 movies or top 10. I forgot where I put it at. I think it's number 5. One of my favorite movies ever. I totally see that correlation. I love how he's explaining things. If you feel depressed, you are not alone. A lot of people are going through or have been through it as well. Please be stronger than I was. Problems will get worse when you come down. I know that now. Learn from my experience. If you are huffing or thinking about it, I don't want you to find out in the same or a worse way. It can make you collapse and die suddenly. Just don't do it. I'll let you know when the cancer comes knocking. I just read proper interpunction is preferred, so I edited the readability and threw around some sentences to match the experience in better words. Well, thank you. It was like I could tell that like some of it wasn't grammar a little off a little bit, but it was easy to read. I love it. Spacing it out like this. Perfect story. What did you guys think? Like lighter, oh my God. Nobody knows what it's like to be addicted to something until it actually happens. And the best thing to do is just never try it. And like, I would never ever think about putting lighter gas or butane in my mouth or whatever kind of inhalant that gets you super fucked up, gasoline. Like, and I also would never put I would never put a needle in my vein. Like, the thought of that just scares me. I'm not afraid of needles or nothing, but like, the fact that like you got to do the drug that way, intravenously, like, it's crazy that these people do, and they got so many holes on them and going through necrosis. Who knows what the hell's in the fentanyl supply? But that's a mess down there. I talk about it very often on this channel, on my main channel, but man, it's a mess, and it's so sad. Very, very fucking sad. But you just never know. Like, someone could just decide to do it just because they decided they wanted to do it, and they don't care about the consequences. When he said he was 34 at the end there, I'm like, damn, you got lucky. Now, he might have some issues later on, but at least he got to enjoy his youth without any of those issues, because 100 cans, I don't know if that's like, it sounds like a lot, but I don't know who people who are addicted to lighter fluid and stuff like that, how much is like a high addiction. Like, how much have you done? How many bottles have you gone through? If there's anyone in the comments, let me know. or if you ever knew somebody that was addicted to it, just type it down. I like to read that comment and see, because there's definitely been worse. I think the hallucinations wise though, best descriptions, most fun to read out of all the inhalant videos that I've done on my main channel. I think he was going through psychosis. I don't know what it was like the periods he wasn't doing lighter fluid. I wish he kind of would say, like, I mean, he said he was like depressed and didn't feel like living, but like what else was going on in your life? Like, were you just waiting for that next high, or were you able to like do things normally until you got to get to that next high? Like, I don't know. Pineapple juice. Pineapple juice is really fucking good too. And I also learned that orange juice, when I got sick, it helps nausea. It's actually more hydrating than water. A study came out. I saw that. I'm like, holy shit. And it has a lot of electrolytes, I think antioxidants, or maybe not. I don't know, something like that. But when I saw it was more hydrating than water, I'm like, the fuck? That's crazy. I was just drinking. I got my OJ. I bring it with me to bed. I'm like, sip on that thing. And pineapple juice does pretty much the same thing. I love just drinking it because I can't eat pineapple. I don't. If anyone else can experience it, I've only met one other person in my lifetime who has this happen when they eat pineapple. I start bleeding. I don't know if it's I think it's my gums. So I love pineapple too. I love the taste of it. I would eat it all the time if I could. But the fact that I got to bleed from it, and I looked it up, and it's not it's not uncommon. You know, people go through. When I tell people, like my close friends and people I've talked to about it, because it's just like for some reason pineapples come up in conversation all the time. They're like, what? Why do you bleed? I'm like, dude, I don't fucking know. But I think it has to do with like the acidity or something. But pineapple juice, I can drink. I don't bleed from that. But it is so good. The Dole, 100% pineapple juice. The little like Red Bull sized cans, 30 grams of sugar, less than 1 gram of fiber, carbohydrates, 32 grams. Vitamin C, 70%. So there you go. Potassium, 8%. Calcium, 2%. Like, I don't know. Why do they even put vitamin D on there if it's 0%? No cholesterol, of course. I started. Yeah, it has 1 gram of protein too. I started eating dates too. My friend got dates. Very good. Tastes like candy. They're delicious. I've been eating way too much candy recently. I haven't had it in a couple days, but man, the best tasting candies you can get right now. Go on Amazon or go to Walmart. $5 probably, or you can get a big 2-pound bag. I probably go through it in a couple, like 2 days maybe, when I buy the 2-pound bag. Not when I first got it, but when I started like getting addicted to eating these things. The Hershey Kisses cookies and cream. Now you're like, if you've had the cookies and cream Hershey bars, don't think about that. Like, that's still good on their own. But this is like, it's totally different. Like, it has so much more flavor. The cookies and cream flavor is so strong with the white chocolate on there. I mean, it's not like strong, but like it's so good. And I pop 3 in my mouth when I go to eat them. And I can't stop. But I as much as I want to get them, I'm not going to get them because I will have some problems if I keep on doing that. So, yeah. And I also tried sugar cookie Hershey's. Those were fucking good too. Man, better than the original chocolate ones. I will say that. I mean, like I said, it tastes way different than the cookies and cream bars. 'Cause I was giving out those bars at Halloween, and I had one, and I'm like, okay, this is okay. I remember it having a better, like, more flavorful taste. It's still good, but like it was just missing something. But this is not missing nothing, and you just chew them all in your mouth. Oh, fuck, dude. I am craving those right now. But, oh well, I'm eating fruits, not going to fast food restaurants. And yeah. Might do another video on this channel tonight for Ozempic, but, if I don't, then don't even worry about it. But I just found out some information that I want to share. Thought it was fucking terrifying. So I hope you all have a good one. Rambling on, I know. Just skip to the fucking story. Why you keep interjecting? Like, yeah, okay, we get it. You're a fucking commenter who can't just press the skip button until I'm fucking reading the next part, like, it's not that hard, you know. Or if you're sleeping, well, too bad. You just gotta listen to it. You gotta listen to what I'm saying, because you could always turn it off too. You can always turn the damn thing off. You don't have to listen to this fucking video. You can just easy X button, hit the YouTube button, go watch something else. You know, I'm not here to please you if you don't want it to be pleased. All right, have a good one. That kind of sounded mean. I'm sorry, guys. I love you all. I just hate when I get comments that are dumb. That's all. But I rarely check comments as much as I used to. It hurt. It would hurt sometimes to read comments, negative ones, and you just like let it bother you, and you would want to respond. And you know the best thing to do is not to respond, because you're only going to cause more of an issue. So that's what I've learned to do the past year and a half or 2 years. I've just been not reading the bad comments. If there is a bad comment, I'm just like, well, the person who commented that is probably just like a lonely fuck who's sitting in their grandma's basement and just fucking playing video games all day. No issue with video games, but if you're playing them all day, then you got a problem. But yeah, you can't take no shit from nobody. If there's a computer warrior on Reddit or wherever the fuck, just remember they're hiding behind that screen, and they're acting way different than they would be in person. So you can type whatever the fuck you want on the internet. That's why I don't type. I type what I would say, how I'd feel if I saw an Instagram post in person, like I was actually swiping in real life. It showed up in front of my face, and I was commenting. I would type out how I feel, what I exactly would say. But yeah, there's too many fights in the comment sections, dude, over stupid stuff. Like, just let it go, man. Let it go. You can't stress too much over what people say, because you can't control what they do, and you don't even know them. Why should if you wouldn't take advice from them, why would you care about what they say to you? Why would you care about, or other way around, something like that? You guys know what I'm trying to say. But I need to go, guys. Yeah. Hope you have a good one.